Hello! Welcome to episode 9 of We Have Issues. I'm Anthony,
I'm Steven.
and we get together every single week, Steven and I, so far without fail, thankfully. And we are doing our best to try to create a graphic novel together. I'm writing this graphic novel about this ridiculous part of my life in which I time traveled. It's a real thing that happened.
It actually happened. There's truth to it. Every single part of this story is absolutely 100% true. There's nothing created or fabricated.
Dude, okay, so it is kind of funny, because I've tried to reach out to people recently, because I honestly don't even know if this is a thing. It probably is. I really doubt that there's any, like, untreaded, like, ground as far as, like, storytelling is concerned, you know? Like, I can't imagine that there's any stone left to, turn at this point. However, what we're working on is an autobiographical time travel story. Which is pretty weird. I mean, even if it's been done before, I haven't seen something like that. It's fun, so it's cool. But that's what we're working on. So every week, Steve and I get together. We work on this autobiographical time travel story. Steven's been working diligently on the art. I'll put a couple pages up right here because now we know how to do this. And right where Steven is.
And just gonna hold it because I noticed that Zoom will auto cut to like the silent party just for no reason.
So, like I said, every week we get together. We're trying to make this graphic novel, despite the the pitfalls of adulthood and such. So how'd you do this week?
So I didn't. Well, I did finish page 3.
I'm a failure, Steven. I'm a failure. I failed this week. I did nothing good.
I actually did a lot this week too, which is like it's unfortunate for you,
Steven. I was so excited last week. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be super confident because I've been doing so great. This week, I don't even have an excuse, Steven. Nothing happened to me.
I was perfectly healthy. My allergies weren't acting up. I mean, everything was great. I just decided to veg. I decided
to literally just like stare at the internet and watch horror movies the whole time. That's all I did. I mean, I had like minimal, inexcusable like drama stuff, but it was nothing that would like excuse the fact that I completely failed this week, Steven. I failed. I took the ball. It was my ball. I had it. I was way ahead, Steven. And now I suck. And I feel it.
For me, like the opposite thing happened. Like I finished page 3 and I was feeling pretty accomplished anyway. So I was just like, you know what? You haven't played like video games, you haven't played like WoW in like over a week at this point. So go ahead and do it. And then both times I logged on early morning to drink coffee and play WoW. Photoshop was already open. So I'm like, I just clicked it. I ended up flatting both page 2 and 3 all the way.
Yeah, okay. So you're sending me these bits of progress while I'm like, no, Steven, do less. Do less this week.
Stop.
Because in my head I was like, no, I'm so behind. And not to say I did get some writing done. I thumbnailed most of the pages and I typed the majority of the work. What happened was I got stuck on like an internal stupid argument where I wanted to solidify a conversation that was happening in the book, and then I just like ran away from it so I can just kind of like let those gears turn in my head because I was like, I know where it has to go, and it's not even an important part, Steven. Well, it's not important as far as like the actual story, but it's important as far as like the entertainment value of the book itself. Where I'm like, well, if you have a group of people sitting around who like to talk about pop culture stuff, what are they going to be talking about, Steven? It could be anything. It could be anything, So that's what so I was turning those wheels for a little bit, and then I just found myself like looking at your text and sweating and thinking like, he's getting so much more done than me.
I imagine like the scene in American Psycho where like Patrick Bateman? No, what's his name in the with the cards, and he's like patting the sweat and like he's like, oh my god, it's perfect.
That whole scene is incredible.
It is. That whole movie is pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, it really is. That movie, I haven't watched it in a while, but I remember last time I watched, I have revisited it within the last couple of years, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, fun. That sounds awful because it makes you sound like a sociopath, but it's a really interesting, entertaining movie overall, and his performance is amazing. And his whole conversation about Huey Lewis throughout the movie is hilarious as well.
Yeah, this is like the way he delivers it too. And in this one, yeah, he's like,
it's like, it's fun walk as he's doing it.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, it's so funny though because like I mean going back to like how much I failed and how much I suck as a human person.
You're horrible.
I am a monster, Steven. But it's just so funny because I was just like previously on, We Have Issues. I'm like, yeah, I think I'll get this done. And I like did more than my work every week. Last week I'm like, I'm gonna double my work. You see? It's like I shake my fist at the heavens and it's like nothing is what happens when you're busy making other plans. Like I did nothing. So no, I did. I worked though. I mean I'll send you what I have. I want to finish it because I like sending you like the full chapters. So that's why I haven't sent you anything. I did type up most of it, like I said, but yeah, not done, and I'm disappointed in me. And now I know how to do text, so failure.
Course 4.
So I got some good news today, which was cool. Speaking of like something that's makes me feel a little bit better about my life in general. The novel that I wrote, Table Scraps, I got a cover art. I found a cover artist for it, a local artist named Danielle. She is fantastic, and she finished this. Check it out right here. Yeah, this is original art that she made using characters from the book. She decided of her own accord to read the book, went and found all the descriptions throughout the book of various characters, and set it up like this. I couldn't be happier with it. Like, I am freaking, like, it freaked me out because I was like, I might actually sell this thing based on the cover alone. Yes!
Because people judge books by their covers. I mean, that's what they're for. So.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like she did more of the work that's going to end up being profitable than I did telling the entire story because the cover is that cool. Yeah. So
I don't really have the whole. I have like a cheap little $30 drawing pad.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, and you know what? I think it's going to be incredible to see your growth throughout our books as we continue to work together because, like, we've talked about previously where, like, even my growth from issue 1 to issue 3 of my own book, it's like there's such a ridiculous amount of growth. And then yours is already starting out with this, like, incredible style and this really fantastic line work already. And, you're still remembering the perspectives and stuff. But I think as you grow accustomed to doing that stuff again, and as you start to exercise those muscles, you're going to reach like over 9,000. Like it's gonna be amazing.
I was watching Dragon Ball Super tonight.
I know you were, Steven. I know you were.
We watch it as a family now, so
that's cool.
We're on like Tournament of Power right now, the first one. So for any Dragon Ball nerds out there that'll eventually watch these podcasts.
Oh, speaking of like costumed characters and stuff, how was your Halloween? What'd you do?
It was awesome. I got like a lot of likes and like call outs, and then like 2 people were like, man, I thought you were the dude until I saw the hammer. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much the point of the movie. Like when they dressed Thor, they made him the dude,
No,
but yeah, like it was awesome.
Who's not watching or who didn't happen to see our Halloween episode, Steven went as Bro Thor, as the dude Thor.
Yeah, I'll send you the pictures. I'll send you the pictures that you can put
him right here.
Here.
Hey, look, it's Thor, part of the podcast. Here's his cameo.
And then Tina, because Tina's Tina went as for Office fans. I'm sure every single person that listens to us is an Office fan. When Michael Scott when Michael Scott burns his foot on the George Foreman grill, he wraps his foot in bubble wrap. Yeah, so Tina dressed up as Michael Scott with a burnt foot, with crutches and all that. So and then my girls were, it was pretty awesome actually. Yeah. And then Cammy and Chase went as trolls. So Chase was Poppy and Cammy was Queen Barb. So it was pretty cool.
That's so cute. Yeah, we did like a whole around the house candy hunt thing, and Atlas dressed up as Foxy from Five Nights at Freddy's. He's 5, but he loves these horror games so much.
Oh, man.
Atlas just really likes it. Like for whatever reason, he likes the how everyone always loves the like villains. Everyone always loves like the coolest looking characters and things. That's what he does. He just really like attaches to the coolest looking character, whatever it is. And
if you got a mask, you got me.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
Yeah.
Vega was my favorite Street Fighter. Scorpion was my favorite Mortal Kombat character.
Of course.
It was immediately drawn in.
Yeah. So
Casey Jones. Michelangelo was my favorite turtle, but
right. My it's so weird because like I remember when I was really little, my favorite was Raph. And I don't know why, like, because I never had that personality, so I don't really know why. Maybe it was just like I thought he was cool. Maybe it's because he went out to a movie, and I was like, "Yeah, I love movies." And he's like, "Out to a movie."
Could have been something simple. I'm pretty sure Michelangelo's because he liked pizza, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I like pizza.
I like pizza. Yeah, and I'm like, I don't feel like I have anything in common with him. Maybe because Raphael was like the Batman of the Ninja Turtles. I don't know, but for whatever reason, I
don't know what my reasoning was, but
yeah. So anyway, so Atlas went as Foxy, and we did this whole thing around the house and stuff, and I was like, I don't want to. So I got like pimples after I did the Freakazoid makeup, and I was like, I don't want more of that, you know. So I did like a Dr. Horrible type of, you know, mad scientist type thing, but I did a bow tie, so so that was pretty fun. He liked it, and we got some candy, and it, had fun overall. And then I watched Fright Night. Have you seen Fright Night? Like in your life?
Probably not.
Okay. So I love Fright Night. Okay, like I've always loved Fright Night. It's one of my favorite vampire movies of all time. The only thing I don't like about Fright Night is, are you looking
that it was written and directed by Tom Holland, so it was written by Spider-Man in the past.
That's the only thing I didn't like about it was like the time travel aspect of Fright Night. No,
the director and the writer.
Yeah, the fact that the director and the writer was just like a 20-year-old Tom Holland in 1980
really bothered and irked me.
Yeah. So no, okay. So this I know you don't like this either. So dude, they do the trope in the movie where there's a character who knows for a fact that there's a vampire. He sees the vampire. He sees the claws of the vampire, the fangs of the vampire. He knows it's a vampire. He sees this vampire transform into this hideous monster of a vampire when he gets stabbed through a hand with a pencil, right? This vampire flies out of his window. He knows it's a vampire. He goes to his girlfriend / ex-girlfriend, not really clear in the movie, and best friend ever. And he's like, I saw a vampire. There's a real vampire and he lives next door to me. And their response is, you're crazy. Steven, if I came to you and I was like, there's a vampire living next door, what would your response be, Steven?
I would already have a cloak on that has steaks and garlic in it. That's what I would. That's exactly what would be happening.
Exactly,
like, there'd be no doubt.
Like first come, first things. Like we're getting
worst case scenario, we commit murder. But beyond that,
yeah, worst case scenario, we help each other to hide a murder that one of us committed. Like it's.
Well, I swore he was a vampire. I know you swore he was a vampire. Like just.
Okay, so honestly, I feel like you just wrote a movie because why is that not a movie already? Like that's like why is no one killing their neighbor because they are sure it's a vampire? Because that's the.
Why? Like, oh my god!
Oh no, stakes don't work, Steven. Get his head. Like we're arguing
like what's happening?
We're arguing about the positioning of the stake as we're stabbing this poor soul.
It's the heart, obviously.
So it was like it's more realistic that you kill your neighbor because you just assume he's a vampire than you would avoid killing him because he's definitely a vampire. Like that's crazy. It was crazy to me. Okay, I get it. I almost get the parent thing because your parents might be like, "Shut up," because they've seen you poop your pants. Like they've seen you do all this dumb stuff. You know, like my parents probably wouldn't trust me because like I was the kid who like put ketchup around my finger like a jewelry box and was like, oh no, my finger, you know. I'm like I'd like stuff my clothes with towels and put it on my bed and like go mom and hide behind the door and be like boo, you know, and, like jump out when she thought I was in the bed. So my parents would be like, not this time. You trying to give us a heart attack, you know? And then
vampire, oh yeah.
Yeah, and then we'd all get killed and some of us would be transformed into vampires. But you would believe me. I knew you would believe me.
Best friend, no way.
Yeah, there's no way. I know you would
There's no way I would doubt that.
Like there are...
I'd at least be interested. I'd be like,
yes!
Let's go check it out.
Yeah, like...
Let's throw some garlic on this dude, see what happens.
Yes. Like,
do you think it needs to be fresh? Do you think we can just bring the jar of minced garlic and just kind of
minced garlic would work, honestly. I feel like it would work. The only other thing about this story that like I was kind of like iffy about in rewatching, which I still think it totally holds up. There's a lot of like thematic stuff about, you know, like virginity and like losing your virginity and the connection, like sexual connection and stuff. That aside, just as far as like the vampire stuff is concerned, right? So they do the like no reflection thing, which is neat because you don't always get that. So it's fun to see every once in a while. They do the like hypnosis type thing, but like in a cool way where it's just kind of like he looks at the woman and she, or like the girl, and he has this allure and she just kind of follows him, and you get the idea that he's, you know, hypnotizing her. What I didn't love was that like Charlie like holds a cross up to him, right? And he just kind of grabs it and throws it away or like crushes it. And he's like, nope. But then later on, he's like, you have to have faith for it to work. Where I'm like, hang on. He's a vampire, all right? Like, if I'm already holding a cross and you're a vampire, and I know
I'm accepting
Jesus in my life. Like, Jesus is my savior. I love, like there's never been a more devout Christian than a man who's face to face with a vampire holding a cross. Like, that's not a thing.
Yeah, there's no way that he was lacking any faith in that situation.
Yeah, like and that's literally anyone. If you're already holding the cross at a vampire, you're like, oh man, the reason this works against that unholy beast is because there's some real power in this, you know? Mm-hmm. So anyway, it's like, it was fun in that you get to see one of the characters kind of like do this, and he's like, you have to have faith. And then he kind of like does this thing where he just kind of does it again, but more powerfully.
This is me with faith.
With faith. Like, can you imagine directing that scene? Like, okay, do it, but like 20% less faith. He's like, okay, oh, yeah.
Rob's over there like, have faith.
Have faith. You gotta have faith. Dude, so then, but like, the vampire's response though, once he does have faith. Oh, by the way, the vampire's played by Chris Sarandon, who is Humperdinck in The Princess Bride, who's also the voice of Jack Skellington.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's who plays
pretty
the
awesome.
Yeah, Jerry Dandridge. And it's really cool. But his response to the faith, like when the vampire killer has the cross, is like he does.
This script was like vampire squeals, and you have to act bad while doing it. Is what it said. That was the cue.
But okay, so
make it as unbelievable as possible.
It's so good. They also in the mythos of Fright Night, they have he has like a Renfield sort of. It's like, but it's like this zombie. Not really a. We don't know what it is. Excuse me. So Jerry Dandridge, the vampire in Fright Night, has this assistant / just bro who hangs out with him, who protects him during the day, who gets shot several times in the movie and just like throw down stairs and stuff. And I'm not sure what he is. I don't think it's ever specified in the movie, but it's kind of
cool. Is he like one of those, like, what do they call those? Kind of like in like Ghostbusters 2, where he like Vigo had like
a familiar.
A familiar. That's exactly what I was looking for. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I that's kind of what it is. It's like he's like the Renfield, but he's not. He's not like brain dead and eating rats and stuff. He's just a guy, you know. Like he could have.
I'm just a dude who saw a vampire and knew whose side to get on, basically.
Yeah. He's just like he didn't even question it. He's just like, you're a vampire. I'm in. Let's do this. Let's go get those girls. Because that's
friend's not going to believe me. In this universe, friends don't believe friends for some reason.
Yeah,
so I'm going to be your friend, and then you'll believe me because, well, you're the vampire. So
my favorite thing that happens in this movie, though, my favorite thing is twice the mom is the villain of the movie on accident. It's like, no, it's so funny. Like, it's actually really effective and like really funny because there's this scene where he saw his neighbor as a vampire, and he's pretty sure that his neighbor killed this woman, right? So he goes outside, and he's like intentionally being stealthy. He's trying to he's sneaking, he's in this bush, he's hiding. We see his perspective as like the vampire runs across the roof, or like flies across as a bat and transforms and then lands on the ground, and he's walking, and we see Charlie, and we are Charlie watching this, this vampire, knowing the danger in this moment as he's just like 20 feet away from this guy. And his mom walks outside and goes, "Charlie! Charlie!" And of course the vampire and the guy just kind of turn and look directly at Charlie, and it's just like, and the vampire for whatever reason is eating an apple, and he like drops the apple at Charlie, and it's just like, yeah, well, I saw you and you saw me, and now we know what's about to happen. So it's a crap.
And the mom just ruins everything.
Just completely ruined it. And then of course there's like the classic scene, like the too convenient to be real type of like thing that works hilariously in these kind of movies, where he's upstairs and he's like talking on the phone. He's like, as long as the owner of the house doesn't invite the vampire in, it's fine. And you just hear his mom like, Charlie, I want you to meet someone. And it's like,
God. Oh, Charlie.
so yeah. That being said, I know I'm talking about this movie for too long, but the vampire in that movie is one of the coolest vampires, because he's literally like, you know I'm a vampire. I know I'm a vampire. If you tell anyone, I'm gonna have to murder your whole family. Just don't tell anyone. And Charlie's like, I'm gonna. Okay,
Charlie doesn't even have like a 3-point plan. He's just like, I'm gonna tell. That's
tell.
all I got.
I'm gonna tell everyone. And to his credit, Charlie Brewster in that movie is a superhero. Like, he is amazing because he's no one. He has no powers. He's not strong by any means. He's a high school kid who's super nerdy. There's nothing like magnificent about him or anything that would suggest that he'd be powerful at all or of any confidence. But he's like, anyone else in the whole world in that situation would be like, I won't say a word. You kill all those women. Like, any real life nerdy character would just like crawl under the bed and just like let that happen, And he's just like, I'm gonna take down this vampire next door, and he does. It's crazy. Anyway, so I watched that last night. That's what I did with my time. That was
Well, we got back, and then it was bed. I mean, getting the girls to bed, and we just went to bed because we're old people. But yeah, it was a fun time. No horror movies for us. We're not a horror movie household.
I know.
That's not what we are.
Yeah, that's true. I know. Well, which is so funny because like we talk about Lost Boys and vampire movies all the time. But, like, Tina doesn't watch a lot. Speaking of Tina and talking her into doing things / watching things / owning things. Have you made any progress on the
ostriches?
On ostriches, yeah. Have you made
the ostrich progression?
On ostrich progression, yeah.
Nothing more than I think what I reported last week.
Okay.
She already pretty much called me out, but I mean, it's like I said, dude. There's not much she can do once. I mean, if anything sells and we have even a little bit of money, there's very little she can do to sway me.
I'm tiptoeing around the idea of forgetting the book and starting a Kickstarter for our ostrich colony at this point because it might sell. I don't know what we'd give people. Pictures of ostriches. We can give them eggs if they pay enough. I don't know how ostriches work.
We can breed them a battle steed.
Yeah, we could. We can name our ostrich after them if they give us enough money. So I'm just lobbying that. Like, I'm lobbing that into the world. It's a soft pitch. It's like a.
If a mystery donor suddenly appears.
Yes. So, just the idea is so insane.
I don't know. Emus might be the better go because they are much smaller and won't kill me, but it also can't be my battle bird. So
don't betray us.
If I can't get the ostriches, then what's this whole comic thing been about anyway?
Yeah. If
always been about
off the table, so is the comic book. I mean,
although we have discussed some other ideas too, which is cool. I don't know if we probably don't need to share that now. That's just weighing everything down, but it's cool. We have other things in the pipeline after we get this one done. We're almost back cataloged at this point. We probably got like 3 or 4 solid ideas.
Hey, before we go any further, so I'm learning a little bit about YouTube, and I want to test something. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I'm going to see how bad I fail. But hey, if you're watching this video on YouTube and you haven't subscribed yet, hit this button right here. It might be on this side. I don't know how this works. We're still learning.
And just in case Zoom is like, hey, no, this is my button. Here it is right here. I think you're gonna sub here. Possibly here.
We're back to 123 subscribers though, so someone came. So we got a new one, so that's good.
Someone felt bad. Like, okay. You know what? I mean, it could be because of what happened. She could have been like, unsubscribe, but I missubscribed.
Yeah. Okay. Can we? Let's type just very quickly. I don't know how much I'll keep in, but let's in a hypothetical world in which this is purely I'm lying. It's so real. Steven, it's so real. It's real. I can't lie. Okay, so let's just pretend, because I don't know what to do here. Okay, so I was in a relationship, right? Um, it was very short-lived relationship. It would have only been a month.
You're probably approaching like an anniversary of it being longer. Like you've separated since.
Yes, I wanted to leave this person's house. I wasn't happy or comfortable in the night, that night, and I suggested, I wasn't feeling that any progress was going to be made or the reconnection was going to happen at that time, and I was uncomfortable, and it was getting late, so I said I'm just going to leave because it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, almost 2:30, whatever. So I was like, I want to leave. So I grabbed all my things and I was like, okay, we'll talk tomorrow. And she grabbed my bag and refused to let me leave. And I looked at her in her eyes, like right in the face, and was like, I don't understand.
The windows of her soul.
And I was like, I don't know what you think you're doing right now, but I know for a fact that tomorrow, when this is when this is a thing of the past, you're going to feel so silly and bad and terrible and regret every second that your hand is around my stuff right now. I was like, I need to go. Please just let me go, And she started yelling and saying no and hold my stuff tighter. Now, I felt this weird... I've never felt anything like this. I was really scared because I like a legitimate fear because I was like, I can't grab it. Like, I don't want to grab it or do anything that would seem violent or like, or like forceful or aggressive. Like, I had to just completely surrender to the moment and just keep trying to reason with her as best I could because I didn't want anything to go wrong. Like, I was terrified that if I was like, give me my bag, and like, what if she was still holding on and hit the wall or something, so like all of those alternate realities were just like boom, 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 like buzzing through my head, and all I could do was
Doctor Strange is over there like this.
So unfortunately I had so like but the thing was the tether that we had was totally Tony Stark in that moment. Like, it had to be sacrificed to save the day because like I was not getting out of there with our relationship intact, and I knew it. As soon as she tried to like stop me from leaving her house, I just like it was cut off from me. Like, I was completely, it just like Thanos snapped our relationship because I couldn't do it. I'm not someone who would ever continue to tolerate that sort of thing, and I wouldn't want anyone to do that from me. If I ever treated anyone that way, I would hope they would just, like kick me to the curb as fast as they could, as to not like condition whatever that was to be a thing that I do, I would never want to do that or think that was appropriate or like acceptable in any sense. So anyway, I just looked at her and I was just basically pleading with her to just be reasonable and let go because she's gonna feel bad. I know she's gonna feel bad, and I think that saying all of that put a curse on her, and now she feels bad because she's texted me almost every night since then. Like, she's taken every once in a while, she'll take a few days off. She took a week off at one point. I thought it was done, but she texts me all the time, and I responded a couple of times, and I said, please stop texting me. And like at first I responded and I told her, I explained, I basically broke up again via text with her and explained that I didn't think it was appropriate for me to ever go through something like that. And I have no intention of ever putting my child, like I have no intention of getting my child in a room with someone who's capable of doing that sort of thing out of nowhere. That was that's a big fear.
Especially so early in the relationship. Like, if this was like a 2-year relationship and something horrible, like maybe this is a conversation you could have and like things like that. But this is like a 1-month-old relationship, not even.
Yeah.
That's just, if someone's already willing to show that color, yeah.
Yeah. So so anyway,
I don't get it.
But I've been kind of dealing with that, and oh, that was going to be such a bad segue. I was going to say, Steven, I just can't do that. I can't tolerate that situation. I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
What was it? What will he do?
So here's the thing, Steven. So I asked today. So
do you know?
Okay, of course I know. Okay, of course I know, and I'll tell you why I know for sure now.
Is it? Is it the? What is it? What, it's like such a desperate. Like, what is it?
What is it? So in the Meatloaf song, I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, most of us, if you're like me, you've heard that song a million times in the background of somewhere. Like you've very rarely ever put it on purpose, but it's been a thing in your life. You've heard it, so you've only ever heard him talk about the things he won't, like about the things he will do, and then he says, "But I won't do that," and you're like, "Oh, well, I mean, I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're talking about, Meatloaf." But I post on Twitter. If there was anyone who studied the Meatloaf mythology enough to have an answer for what he won't do for love. So not only did people answer, a lot of people responded. A lot of people just said that, like he won't do that. Obviously, it's the thing he won't do is that. Like that's an answer. It's not an answer.
You're so clever.
Yeah. Well, like here's the reason it upsets me. I want answers, people. This is science. Like Meatloaf.
What is it?
What is it? So
what is it?
Okay, but the reason this is so funny to me, dude, is because not only did I get someone who had an answer and an answer that made sense, but he had a reason he had an answer. Okay.
So those are the best kinds of answers.
Dude, so he said, first of all, this is what he says, okay? It's Chris Van Dyke, which is about running on Twitter, which is funny. So, and at About Running on Twitter, Chris Van Dyke says, he'll never lie to you, and that's a fact. He'll never forget the way you feel right now. And he'll never forgive himself if you both don't go all the way down. And he'll never do it better than he does it with you. And he'll never stop dreaming. So here's the thing. In the song, he says, but I'll never forget the way you feel right now. Oh, no. No way. And then it goes, and he goes, but I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. So I won't forget you. I won't forget the things. But when you're listening to the song, especially in the background, you don't put those things together because he says that verse, and then he says, blah, blah, blah. These are the things that I won't, that I will do. And then he says, but I won't do that. So he totally makes it this like beautiful epic poem, which apparently he was going to make a whole Broadway musical of that album, or like those two albums, which is really cool.
It is really cool.
So Chris Van Dyke gave me like this huge breakdown because apparently he spent the last 2 weeks breaking down that like those albums and listening to a podcast that goes into the whole backstory and writing of those albums and everything. So like he spent 2 weeks of his life.
He's done his research for us.
He did all of this research for the last 2 weeks. He's listened to them dozens of times intentionally trying to figure out what Meatloaf was talking about the whole time. And I just happened in that moment to ask this question, and he's like, let me bless you.
I am literally the guru of this song.
So he's like, I'm sorry, I recently received an advanced degree in meatloafology. Apologies if the excerpt from my thesis was more than you were actually asking for. Where I'm like, it wasn't. It was exactly what I was hoping for, Chris Van Dyke, and I thank you, and I hope that
I can't believe I got you.
Well, that's what I said. I was like, Chris Van Dyke, I didn't realize that my Twitter had the ability to summon Meatloaf professionals, and I will use this gift carefully. Like, I will not abuse this gift. So, like, in recent years, I've learned that I can summon people with my Twitter, and I can murder people with my mind. There is no end to this.
Your powers are seemingly, scary. So, in fact, people, I don't even know if I'm drawing this of my own free will at this point.
You just start drawing. Dude, speaking of other songs that are like annoyed me today for some reason, I was thinking about that song, that You're So Vain, but you probably think the song is about you. Mm-hmm. That song is 100% about him, is the thing.
You know, like, what kind of weird, freaky, like, gaslighting is that?
What are you doing? What kind of... Wait,
hey, I bet you're so crazy and vain that you think this song's about you, don't you?
Don't you?
Wait, I didn't, but now I kind of do.
Yeah, now I do. But okay. So you know that she was in a relationship with someone, and he was probably a jerk. He was probably a bad person. But here's the thing: she made herself the villain. She is the villain now. She wrote a song about someone, all about him, and now she's trying to act like it's not about him. Dirty. I'm sorry. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. You can't say mean things about someone and be like, "Oh, you thought I was talking about you." Be like, you were. You know you were.
You literally. In fact, no one knew you were until you said that. Like, you were like, "You're so vain."
Yeah.
You probably think the song. That's the part. That's the part where you reveal that it is in fact about me.
100% about me. If you were just like, some people are vain, I probably would never have thought about it. I'd be like, oh yeah, some people are vain. She's right. She has her finger on the pulse of people's.
I mean, not me, but other people, because I'm so vain. I haven't seen my own vanity.
I'm assuming I don't have. Yeah, I'm assuming it's not about me because I'm so great that no one could say a negative word about me. However, it's totally about him. Rude. She's a villain, and we should shake our fist at her. So that's anyway. So that's what I was thinking about all day today. So what's next on our list? What are we doing? What's our plan?
Page 4, probably for me.
Okay, so
for
last
you,
week,
it's whatever you were supposed to do this week. You found out here, ladies and gentlemen, that Anthony is in fact a Sith, which means there's another Sith somewhere because they always come in twos. It's not me.
It's not
probably me. Atlas.
Atlas is 100% a Sith. Like he's going to.
It's like so sweet. He's like, I'll give you hugs. I'm gonna murder you. The Sith. I mean, that's what they do.
Dude,
I think. Is that what they do? Are the Sith the good guys, really?
Okay, I think the Sith have to be the good guys. Not that I have an argument for it, but I'm about to come up with one.
Just like, are we the baddies? Like, kind of are.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, the rebels are kind of sowing chaos in a sense. They don't really know what they're doing, do they? Like, I mean, okay, let's just go out and say that like the Republic, like the Empire, right? The Empire is just trying to bring worlds together under one fantastic government, strong leadership. So, not to mention,
someone said an iron fist.
So an iron fist. Not to mention, it's with a religious heart. Like they are strong with the Force. It might be the dark side. However, it's there. I'm just saying.
But you know what? There's only 2 of them. That's the thing. Those Jedis, they breed like rabbits. Like, once there's one Jedi, he teaches 3. Like, it's just they need to go.
They gotta go. There are only 2 Sith. You know what that means? They're just trying to survive. It's been a Sith genocide. If they're trying to just get their numbers back up, if anything. How would you feel if like the 2 polar bears were like, "Don't kill us, we're starting a world"? Would you go after them?
That's what we do.
This is
polar bears are horrible, mean animals. I wouldn't kill them. I love them, but they're like terrifying. There's this town. I read. I forget the town, which makes my story completely pointless. But like, there's this town in like one of the far north reaches of Europe, and like I think it's in Europe. Probably not. It's probably in Canada somewhere. But anyways, wherever the polar bears live. But anyways, there's a law in this town that you can't lock your doors because polar bear attacks are so common that people have to run and get into a car if it happens. So like you have to leave your car unlocked in this town so people can escape a polar bear if they encounter one on the road. Like, oh, there's a polar bear. I gotta run to this guy's Jeep real quick. Like that's just what you have to do. And they're mean.
Have we not destroyed all the polar bears? I'm on Team Jedi now. I think they should just wipe out the Sith at this point. I'm okay with genocide if it's something that's gonna murder me every day. Like I can't.
Huge.
No, I'm kidding, but I can't.
I know we love the polar bears, but
well, yeah, it was my favorite actor on Lost. There were polar bears in Lost. You didn't know that. You didn't watch Lost. I know,
dude. But... I had this one strand out of my bun. It's
okay. Let's start the podcast over again. Hello. Welcome to episode 9 of We Have Issues. I'm Anthony. That's Steven. He fixed his hair.
I fixed my hair. It's all good now.
It's all good now.
It's not. It's not.
It's not.
It's not. So next week, what do you plan on accomplishing next time we chat, Anthony?
Okay. So I already have most of this chapter written and thumbnailed. I'm going to say that I'm 100% just going to send that one chapter to you, and I'm going to try to do as much as I can in the next one. But I'm going to 100% finish the one chapter and send it to you before we finish.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's my definite plan, is that the next chapter, which is the chapter in which I meet Voldemort.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to finish next week?
I'm going to get at least the blues done for page 4, but I'm probably going to try to finish final penciling. It all depends on when we decide to record this coming week. I think I'll have more or less done.
So that's what we're going to do. You're going to do page 4. I'm going to do this chapter, and we're going to get this done. Thank you all for listening and subscribing and telling your friends. If you're only listening to the podcast and you haven't seen the video, we do have a new YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/wehaveissuespodcast. We're also on Facebook at We Have Issues Pod or podcast. You can find us. We have a Reddit subreddit. We just started a Twitter, which hasn't been very active yet, but we'll get all over that soon. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe right here. It should pop up soon at the end. And we really appreciate you and love you and hope you had a happy Halloween. And we can't wait to talk to you about how much we eat for Thanksgiving. But that's in a couple weeks. We'll meet you. So